Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my Lifter Doug's vlog. And this is his final real training week before meet. We're not really doing that much special to peak him. I don't think it's always necessary to do that. We do a little more 5s instead of 10s, things like that. On benching, we pretty much just go in meet ready. I took him over to a little more specificity on max effort day. And that's kind of what we do. That's how I peak most of my guys for meets. It's not necessary for us to do a lot of special stuff because we do max effort year round. So in his case, we did a 355 bench press there. Then I had him do some 5s on pause bench, right? We do our JM presses, which he responds very, very well to. Then afterwards, it's just our normal stuff. We do lateral raises. We do some band press down, some pull-ups. Again, not overly complex. Not overly complex, and it doesn't need to be. The complexity in a system like this is in the programming days. Not so much often the exercise selection. I know when people do a lot of versions of conjugate, it seems really complicated because of the max effort work and the speed work and all the variations and bars that are often done. But you need to remember that's being done for the max work and it's being done for the speed work. Speed work really isn't that complicated. It's just that we use bands and chains at certain percentages if they are available. In Doug's case, he's not really set up to do all that, so we always do his speed work with straight weight. We do it with straight weight. Max effort tends to be, what equipment your lifter has available, what your goals are with that. So the exercise selection there can seem complicated, and in some cases it's really random. If I'm taking a lifter and we're trying to have them only PR on max effort day, and we go 12, 15 weeks without doing the same lift again, that's what seems complicated because we're just doing different exercises spaced out. Different versions of the bench, bands, chains added, pin work, whatever for max work. Same with squatting, deadlifting. But it really isn't complicated if you start thinking of it in the terms of it can be almost random variations that we're ramping up to a max. Everything else is really hypertrophy work. And hypertrophy work doesn't need to be complicated. Putting muscle on people is not a complex endeavor. It really isn't, from a programming perspective. It is the least complicated thing you can program for training. Hypertrophy work is very straightforward and simple. It really is. And our exercise selection doesn't need to be crazy. What are we doing here for him? You're seeing some pause benching, pull-ups, JM presses, laterals. Okay, what's the lower body stuff look like? Romanian deadlifts, single leg exercises. You're seeing here, reverse hyperextensions, hamstring curls. With bands for him. Not complicated. What do we do for max effort lower here, though? We saw deadlift. 480 deadlift. Keeping in mind Doug is a much better bencher than anything else. His squat's number 2. His deadlift tends to be the weakest. We've worked very, very hard to get him to that 480. And we're hoping he'll crack 500 at this meet. All right, we're hoping. Some people say, well, 500 deadlift's not crazy good. No, it isn't. But he's built to bench. And we have a history of some low back and hamstring problems. In his whole training history, even long before he hired me. So deadlift has always been our fight, both due to some previous issues, some weak links, previous injuries, and then his shorter arms, which make him a monster on the bench. So we've had to work for that deadlift. Really had to work for it. And that's oftentimes the way it is, when you have lifters who are built for certain lifts and really not built for others, to get those others good, you're going to put in a lot of work, the ones that they're not built for. It's not impossible. It's absolutely not impossible. It can be done. Just be aware that you're going to have to give more attention to it, right? More attention in terms of detail, fatigue management. Probably going to have to work a little harder too. Okay. But it is completely doable. In his case, we fought for that. And we'll keep seeing his deadlift go up. And part of one of the things that we're doing that help, again, these high rep hamstring curls. Something like this might seem a little silly, but why are we doing these? This is someone who has pulled hamstrings before, pulled hamstrings pretty badly, and I don't even mean from going heavy. I'm talking just normal training, not even difficult sets, things like that. He's pulled hamstrings. It's a history of that. Okay, he has a history of a lot of low back pain, so I have a reverse hyper. Well, how much of that is tied to the hamstrings? Could it be the history of weak hamstrings? Well, I think that is. It's always made him pull on his low back differently. So by doing that work, we're improving blood flow, right? It will improve recovery over time. I'm not saying we do it on the off days per se. We're doing it at the end of workouts. We are improving tendon health. This is, again, someone who's pulled hamstrings. All right, get those tendons in better shape. Get the tendons in better shape, the injury risk goes down, and stronger tendons means what? Your nervous system will be willing to fire a muscle harder because of the protective mechanisms in place. If we do that, we can build them bigger, shift his whole kinetic chain, and that's what we have to have. We really need his hamstrings bigger. It's like right now I'm benching, his chest needs to get bigger. Doesn't have a small chest. He's got a 350, 360 pound bench press chest. How do we get him to 400? Well, we've got to get that bigger. His pecs tend to be his current weak link on the bench. Delts are a strong point, right? So we do work pecs a little more, and we're going to continue to do that. We're going to be doing more dumbbell work and stuff coming up once he gets back from meet, right? But this is his dynamic effort upper day, and he always likes to finish with almost these drops set on the bands. That's how Doug likes to do them, and I don't mind. Again, he likes having arms. I can't blame him. And your bench press will never get weaker because your triceps got bigger. Just a point to think about, right? There he is, just cranking out pull-ups. Doug's always been good at pull-ups. And then, of course, we finish up with a dynamic effort lower. And in this case, we do speed boxes. And because we're right at a meet, I'm having him do them with a straight bar. Right, we do speed box squats, and then we do speed conventional deadlifts. And then he is platform ready. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.